I've got a lot to say, folks, and most of it is not positive. How's it going, everybody? Thank you all so much for chiming in for the latest post-game show here in WardyNYM, where we break down everything that there is to know about what transpired in the latest Mets game, this time, unfortunately, being a heartbreaking, really a frustrating 2-1 loss in the series beginner against the Seattle Mariners in a 3-game set. How's it going, everybody? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments here in live, or of course if you're watching on replay. And please do not hesitate for smashing that like and subscribe button. Help us get 100 likes for the first short-term goal, and help us get a 16k subs for the next short-term goal here on the channel. And like I said, there will not be much positivity today. I am completely aware of that. I myself am not going to be positive, and don't get me wrong, this is one game, but this is a trend that we have been seeing recently of the Mets that definitely is frustrating when it comes to southpaws. And I told every single one of you in my series preview that I uploaded earlier today, if you didn't check it out, please make sure you do, because it still holds true, other than the fact that Jarred Kelenic got sent to AAA hours before today's game, so we did not get to see a chance of Kelenic actually playing against the Mets. Yet we'll see whenever that happens. But no less, I broke down in my series preview the biggest thing to look for in the Mets in this series is how will they perform against lefty pitching. Marco Gonzalez on the bump tonight for the Mariners. Then we got Robbie Ray in the series finale. Then you have the rookie right-hander Wayne Kirby tomorrow night at the time of recording this. Point is these are two southpaws that can easily shut down the Mets. And through the first game, we already saw one southpaw shut down the Mets, as Marco Gonzalez went 6.2, only giving up one run against the Mets, in which they scored right in the beginning of the game. This has been the trend for the Mets. Over the past 3 games, at least, the Mets have scored 6 runs in just 3 innings. Over the past 3 games, they've only scored 2 runs in the remaining 20-plus innings since then. So it's frustrating. This has been a lackluster offense as of late, and consistent. They're getting guys on base, but when they are, they're just not executing enough. So like I said, we're going to be deep diving everything that you guys need to know about this game some further. And of course, I'll be answering all your comments, questions, and concerns after I break down and analyze. Truly, this was a frustrating loss for the Mets. If not the worst loss for them this year, then definitely close to, because the Seattle Mariners team that they played today did not do absolutely anything. I'm sorry, the Mariners were dog shit today. They had the pitching, but their offense was as anemic as you could possibly imagine a team going up against the Mets. Looking just through the numbers real quick, folks, and again, I'll be breaking down everything that happened in this game, but through the numbers, just expected batting average for the Mariners tonight, 141. 140 effing 1. The Mariners did not have it. Mad Max absolutely shoved, as you see in the highlights here. He was the highlight. He was the story of this entire game for the Mets. He was the only reason why the Mets had any chance in this game, because they simply could not hit a lick. And it's hilarious, though, as I discussed again in my series preview, I said there are 3 players to look for in this series, in my personal opinion, especially when you're matching up against Gonzalez tonight, that we saw everything that happened. And then, of course, Robbie Ray in the series finale on Sunday. And the main guy, the number 1 guy I told you guys to watch, is WardyNYM. Not just because Nimmo's been an on-base king and has been one of the best players for the Mets, but because he's been by far the Mets' best hitter against lefties. Entering tonight's game, WardyNYM had an over 870 OPS against lefties so far this season. And today, he got quick work. Continued his on-base and his hit streak to now 9 games for a hitting streak. And of course, on-base streak at 24 games straight now, I believe. Nimmo starts off the game that we saw with a leadoff single, and then Starling Marte gets himself a double. And before you know it, the Mets have themselves guys in, and then Francisco Lindor gets himself a sac fly RBI. And the Mets have that quick 1-run lead. And then what happens after that? Mad Max Scherzer's what happens. Scherzer goes 7 strong tonight. One of his best outings of the season. 3 hits he gave up. 1 earned run that we saw there in the 4th, unfortunately, because Jesse Winker got himself an RBI single that Max wasn't happy about. Max, unfortunately, had a bases-loaded situation, if I'm not mistaken. I at least had multiple guys on there. And yes, he did give up that run to Winker, but he was able to get out of it outside that. No, he got out of bases-loaded jam there in the 7th. I'll be describing in a second. But he only gave up 2 walks, 6 strikeouts on 98 pitches. Mad Max was not the problem tonight, folks. He was the one positive. We all know that. He was just simply phenomenal. But the Mets simply could not do anything. It's so frustrating looking at this team tonight, because, again, this was a Mariners team that had nothing. This was an offense that was even worse than the Mets, but somehow, someway, they still legged it out and got the job done. Mets had 5 hits to the Mariners 4, and yet the Mets simply couldn't get anything tonight, guys. I'm so pissed off. I'm sorry. This game probably hurts me the most this year because this was a game the Mets 1000% should have won, and they have themselves to blame. This narrative with the lefties continues. But as we go forward in this game, after the Mets score thanks to a Lindor sac fly there in the first, we get to the fourth. Jesse Winker, of course, the known hated by the Mets, even though that he's a Rangers fan. Shout out to my Rangers fans, at least. Rangers won 4-3. Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad stepping up. Now we have a Game 7 back at the Garden. I know we don't have a lot of Ranger fans here per se, and I know we don't have a lot of hockey fans, but I did just want to throw that out there because I'm a dire Rangers fan. I was very happy. At least that team won tonight. One New York team because the Mets weren't able to get it done. But then when we get to the seventh inning, this was crazy because Max Scherzer had bases loaded with less than 2 outs, but he got a beautiful turn double play to end the inning unscathed. He was so pumped up, and that would do it for Max's final line. Again, 7 strong, only giving up 1 run on 3 hits. But that's it then. The Mets couldn't do anything more because then as we get to the 8th inning, this is where the Mariners started to attack on Drew Smith, who had 13-plus scoreless innings entering the 8th inning tonight for the Mets. For the first time this year, Drew Smith, he didn't have it. He didn't have the control. He walked the first 2 batters he saw back-to-back, and then he gave up a deep single to Ty France, the best hitter so far for the Mariners by far this year, batting right around 325 entering tonight's game, 5 home runs, 24 RBIs. Gets 25th, I believe, with that RBI to give the Mariners a 1-run lead. Then there's runners on the corner still with less than 2 outs, and somehow, someway, Drew Smith strikes out a couple, gets a pop fly to end the inning. And thank goodness for that. Drew Smith has been phenomenal all year long. He is not the reason why the Mets lost tonight. The Mets offense is why the Mets lost tonight. I don't want to see any slander whatsoever on Drew. I don't want to see any of it in the chat. I don't want to see any of it in the comments. I'm sorry. Drew Smith, again, it sucks that he gave up that run, but he is not the reason why the Mets could not win tonight. Is their anemic offense that they have themselves to blame. So Drew Flo gives up that 1 run. The first run he gives up all year long. Then we, of course, get to the 8th, the bottom of the 8th, and this is where I'm having the frustration with these damn dead end balls. You guys know I've been referencing it like crazy all season long, especially over the past week, because the Mets keep getting robbed of either home runs or singles because of defensive alignment or because of the dead end ball. And as you just saw in the highlights, and it'll play again here as it just rolls, in a loop, Pete Alonso, 103 exit velo, a 750 expected batting average, should have been a home run to dead center, and it falls short on the warning track. That doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen, but it happens because these damn dead end balls. I'm disgusted by it. It is absolutely ridiculous that this keeps happening. That should have been tied game. The Mets got screwed, but even with that piss poor luck with the dead end balls, the Mets are still the team to blame. They are still 1000% the team to blame. Even if Alonso got that home run there, that should have been a home run, it would have only tied the game. Who knows what would have happened either. This Mets and their anemic offense is ridiculous. This game is standing out to me more than any other game for the Mets this year. And I'm not overreacting when I say this either. The Mets have had some guys significantly slumping as of late. And Eduardo Escobar, I gave him the benefit of the doubt for a while, but he needs to get his shit together. I'm sorry. This guy's like, what? 1 for his last 24 or 25? I love Eddie, but there's a problem right now, and he should not be sit. He was in the 5-hole again tonight. You can't justify that. That's a fair criticism on Buck. And I even said that Escobar is a guy to watch in this series because he has 6 hits over his past 7 games facing the Mariners in his career. No hits tonight, just simply not there. Listen, let's go through the offense, guys. Let's go through it quick. Then I'll go through Wardy's top 5. Not too many positives there. I'll go through the rest of the bullpen, how they did tonight. Adam Ottavino, of course, had a beautiful inning there. Struck out a couple after having, didn't he give up a, he did not give up a leadoff walk. It was just 3-0 originally on the count to the first batter. Then he somehow, some way got out of that without a problem. But talking about the lineup for the Mets tonight, folks. Let's look at it, right? And continue smashing that like and subscribe button if you guys are just chiming in. Really, really do appreciate it. Help us get to 100 likes for the first short-term goal if we're not there already. And also help us get to that being 16K subs for the next short-term goal here on WardyNYM. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to go into hour long for tonight's show because I'm frustrated. And there's not too many positives to take away from this game, but we will be going, I would say, at minimum 40 minutes. I definitely want to go for a while, but I'll cut things off for people on replay after I break down the further numbers before we get to the comments per usual. But talking about the Mets offense, Brandon Nimmo led the way. He is my number 1 star. I said Nimmo would be a guy to look out for in this series, and that held true. Was 2 for 3 tonight with a double and that run scored. Thank you, Brandon. He was quite literally the only bright spot offensively, you could argue. Francisco Lindor, I have him at number 3, even though Lindor did not have a great day at the plate. But again, he's the reason why the Mets at least had any offense today. over 2 with that sac fly RBI there in the first. And then starting Marte, who is still swinging at pitches down the pipe and is swinging through them. It's frustrating. He, however, still was a bright spot for the Mets offensively tonight because they simply didn't have any, right? He was 1 for 4 with a double. Normally, that should not get in my top 5, but when the Mets only have 5 hits and can't do absolutely jack you-know-what with their offense, that's how he gets in there. Then Adam Ottavino. Ottavino, like I said, a beautiful pitched inning there in the top of the 9th to get an inning pitch, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 2 strikeouts. Perfectly bounced back outing from him not even getting 1 out. The last time he was out after Tyler McGill's, that was a while ago. I think Ottavino pitched since then, but no less. I mean, just such a frustrating game. Guys, let's look at the baseball savant numbers for a minute too on Scherzer, because that was a positive. Like I said, Mad Max absolutely shoved, and he gets a no decision tonight when he rightfully deserved the victory. So frustrating, especially Paul Sewald shutting the Mets down for 2 innings. Just inexcusable. Not full 2 innings because he came in there for Marco Gonzalez. He still needed at least 1 out there in the 7th, but then he had a clean 8th. I mean, former New York Met Paul Sewald has really changed his arsenal. He's so good now. I mean, he was an all-star reliever last year. He's continuing that pace with the 4-seamer and the slider. But Mad Max Scherzer, let's talk about a positive tonight because this is the only one we got. It was Mad Max. Max, with his 5-pitch arsenal tonight, topped out at 46% of his arsenal, was at 4-seam fastball. Topped out, we see here on the velo. Pardon me, I'm just missing the wrong stat here. Topped out 96, minimum was 91, average was 93. Slider, 22% of his arsenal for Scherzer tonight. Topped out 87, minimum 82, average 84. Curveball, 11% of his arsenal tonight for Mad Max. 78 where he topped out, minimum was 74, and the average was 75. Changeup, 10% of his arsenal. 87 where he topped out the velo, minimum 82, average 84, and then the cutter 10% as well of his arsenal, topped out 90, minimum 88, and average 89. So that's really all I need to know about Max. He was the one bright spot of this game. As I see someone in the chat saying you're 100% right. This was a team that gave him the Jacob deGrom treatment. He is our ace, and the Mets treat him like such, where they couldn't give him any run support. Guys, you could see the lack of offense for the Mets tonight from a mile away. Even with the black jerseys, even with the Mets being 4-0, undefeated on Friday so far this year. The last time the Mets were pitching on a Friday with black jerseys as well, you know, they had them, or pardon me, not necessarily. Last time they did that, they had the combined no-hitter led by Tyler McGill. So I was hoping for some magic like that. They had the pitching tonight. By all means, they did. Pitching is the only reason, again, why they were in this game. And Wardy's top 5, Lindor for 2, absolutely. Yeah, Lindor's in the top 5 because he's the only reason why the Mets had a run tonight. So we can criticize Lindor. Don't get me wrong. He's part of the problem in the sense of he's one of the many Mets hitters slumping right now, but it doesn't change the fact that if it isn't for Lindor, the Mets don't even have a run tonight. So that tells you how bad the Mets offense was when I have a guy Ofer that is my number 3 star tonight. Again, that's not my fault. That's not his, that's just how it is. Mets had nothing offensively tonight, folks. So, like I said, I really don't think there's much more that needs to be said about this game. I want to sleep off it. Hopefully, the Mets bounce back tomorrow. Of course, I will not be doing a post-game show live tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow's my brother's wedding, and I'm going to prioritize that. I cannot wait for it. I'm so excited. Was setting up and getting everything ready for tomorrow today. So tomorrow, if there will be any content, it'll probably be a 1-minute video of me ranting if the Mets win, and if I am able to do a quick video like I did when the Mets had the combined no-hitter, because I also was away at the time because it was my brother's bachelor weekend. So I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that'll bring the Mets good luck tomorrow. But no less, I will be back live stream-wise on Sunday for post-game coverage as a goal. But for people in the live stream, I'll be answering all your comments and questions right now. But for people on replay, I'll be cutting things off. So please make sure, again, let me know in the comments below. How do you feel after this unbelievably frustrating 2-1 loss to the Seattle Mariners? I would rightfully argue this was the worst loss of the Mets this year because bullpen implosions definitely suck. But you know, when the offense cannot get going against a team that has an even worse offense than you somehow tonight, and you still cannot muster up more than a run, you have yourselves to blame. That's a problem. This team needs to figure out how to hit lefties. It's unbelievably frustrating. Don't get me wrong. Alonso should have had that home run there in the bottom of the 8th. He deserved that. The numbers will all tell you that. But at the end of the day, even if he got it, it would have only tied the game. So there's no guarantee that the Mets would have won. Nothing. Frustrating loss for the Mets. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe. And as always, I'm normally a lot more positive, and I'm normally a lot more jovial and happy than I am right now. But naturally, when the Mets lose and get absolutely their teeth kicked in by a Mariners club that had no business winning this game, but the Mets had no business either. It's a frustrating loss. So again, this is where I'll be cutting things out for people on replay. But when it comes to people on the live stream, I'll start answering all your comments now. At Blood Diamond, that wasn't out, but expected batting average 750. That ball is out any other year. It's this damn dead end ball that we have to blame for that Alonso flyout, and you cannot tell me otherwise. But again, for people on replay, this is where I'll be cutting things off.